Hi everybody. I'm making this little video because even though Christian didn't realise that I was recording that bit of video, he asked me to document what was happening to him. So I'm not going to do it very often because obviously I love Christian and these are private conversations, but he wanted me to document it, and it just so happened in this phone call because I ring him every day. Poor Christian. He has lung cancer. They haven't told him how long he's got, but they've told him it's terminal. And it's quite big. It's probably about when he had the x-rays, it's probably about 80% of his lung. So that was about November, December. So I don't really know what's going on. He gets in lots of pain and he's taking these pills, and he wanted me to document what's happening to him. Yeah, so we're going to play his little video. Love Christian, that's all I can say, and I'm doing what he wants me to do.
I'm not much of a man for eggs. You know, I never have been, but when I came out of hospital, I went on an egg eating campaign. You know, to put the collagen back into my body and certain fats.
Yeah.
Because the iron, so, and it did do that. Not fully, but it restored some of my immune system. But I ended up stopping, and I should have carried on. I must have done it for about a year.
Yeah. And they say sometimes people say eggs aren't very good for you, but
They are. They're high in protein. That's why the government's got a license on you just having one chicken. You know, what's the point? Is a chicken going to bite someone? Is a chicken going to attack loads of people?
no, they just don't want us
They
sorting
don't
ourselves
want you to
out.
have good food.
They want us to be under the Romans.
Yes. You know, that's easy enough to work out with all these shit foods. When you've only got 40% in fish fingers, or about 50% in fucking fish fillets.
Yeah, we're not eating real food anymore, are we?
And all the processed stuff in cans and tins.
Processed is not very good for you.
No, and then you've got GMOs. You think that's by accident, it's all to reduce population. We're not binging. I mean, I've told you before, you had the College Street chip shop chain closed down. Ramsbottom chip shop chain closed down. You know, at least these are still providing proper food, so you're up for it. Right, okay. So,
Nephew.
still sort of babysitting.
Yeah. So, how many pills have they given you then, by the way?
What do you mean, how many pills have they given me?
The hospital, how many pills have they given you? Those pills you're taking, the more...
I'm taking Zoom off.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they told me to take two. One in the morning and one at night. And when I was taking the one in the morning and one at night, I was still dehydrated. I've told you this. I was drinking 3-4 litres of water per night. You know, and I'm going, well, what's the point of this if I'm not going to sleep? I want to sleep. Yeah, I mean, last night I got, I don't know, maybe a couple of hours altogether. You know, but that's not good for me. You know, my cell structure isn't regenerating, even with what I'm eating, so...
But you want me to make a little video to sort of report what you're going through?
Yeah, just keep a documentation on it, you know, everything that I've told you. You know, it's like I said, these drugs are masking agent. Masking. It's when you put a mask in front of you and you'll hide what it is. Yeah, it's like there's a fire burning, but you put a shield in front of it. You can't see the fire burning because it's got a shield in front of it. Remove the mask and you can see the fire again. The illness is still there.
I suppose they're just painkillers though, aren't they, that they're giving you? They're not giving you treatment.
I mean, I'm still smoking and I don't care because the day's going to come anyway. Yeah, I mean, I'm shocked at the way my weight loss happened.
know, that's a bit...
cancer, and it's still doing it, Karen. Yeah, there's no stopping it. But there is a point of slowing it down by me fighting it, by eating, keeping the belly fire going.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm trying to stay positive in that respect, to try and live as long as I possibly can.
Yes, I know.
Yeah.
And I love you, Christian.
You know, I'm not the sort of person to growl at people. Like my nephew is a fucking arsehole. You know, when it comes down to it. Oh, I gotta do this, and gets really fucking mad and upset about it. And fucking moody. I've told him. I said, you're an arsehole when you're like that. I mean, it's like when he got pissed the other night. I mean, he drinks every day. He hasn't had a drop yet. But I've told him you're a fucking complete alcoholic.
But I am glad that you're not on your own. I am glad that you're there, not with Sam. I'm sorry.
My grandnephew Lewis has not been well yet. It should be a chronic toothache.
Oh.
And what followed was a fever, so he's not been well.
Have you got any more appointments at the hospital?
No, I've got an appointment for Wednesday for I think she's part of the palliative care system as well. I'm not too sure, but I think that's what it might be. She's come to see me on Wednesday.
Do you want to see her though, don't you?
Oh yeah, just have a few words. I mean, at the end of the day, you know, I was never told about the side effects of the Zoom or, you know, and what it would be. And I'm going to tell her that I did take one at night and one in the morning, one at night, one in the morning, one at night in the morning, one in the morning. But if I can't go for a poo, and I'm filling myself up, you know, I'm going to make myself seriously ill. Yeah, there's got to be movement in my bowels. Because that's one of the things that they ask you at the hospital every day when the doctor comes in. Have you got movement? Have you got bowel movement? Yeah, they ask you that every time. Every day, because it's important, because that's the part of the living process. And it's, like you say, the belly is the fire of the heart. You know.
You're seriously ill and you're babysitting.
Right?
You're seriously ill and you're babysitting.
Yeah. I know.
Don't know what to say about that, Christian.
No, not me either. It's like, they're treating me like I've got a cold, like I've got the fucking flu. You know, they're not really interested. You know, how are you feeling today? No one's ever said to me, how are you feeling today?
I do.
No, I'm saying here. I know you phone me every day, and I know you inquire about my care, which is lovely, you know, and I appreciate it. But what I'm saying is, you know, there may come a point where I might lose my oration, my elaboration in the way I speak because of this cancer thing. You know, but listen, I've got to put the phone down because my arm's killing me now, on my shoulder.
I love you, Christian. That's all I can say. I can't say anything else.
No, I know.
We'll just try and have a really good day today.
I'll try, yeah, this is why I took the Zoom off. I mean, I'm not willing to give up. You know, I'm still fighting.
I know, that's probably why you're still here, because I thought you were serious, like, you were really at the end a few weeks ago, to be honest. I thought, God, he hasn't got long. I don't want that, I want you to live. But maybe it's because you're such a fighter.
But, you know, if I'm given false information by these fucking twats, you know, because these people don't take the pills themselves, do they?
No.
You know, they can only advise. So you have to use your own
I don't think it's advisable to take them
you have
unless
to
you
use
need
your own
them.
intuition of what's good for your body. Yeah, and I know that even last night I was in bed, my heart racing, and, you know, I'm trying to get some sleep, which is next to impossible. So I have to get up and have a cup of tea or something and do something, have a bag.
Do you think that you make a bit of the anxiety yourself, or you really think
No,
actually it's all the pills?
It's the pills.
That's not good, is it?
The Oromos started when it backfired on me, and that's how it's been since. So listen, I've got to go down the line.
Alright, I love you, Christian. Just try and have a nice day as possible.
You too. It's not too bad a day out there, but...
Yeah, look at the sun. Sit in the sun. You know that the sun's good for
I
you.
do feel the cold because I'm getting skinnier.
Right.
Yeah.
But is there any way you can sit in a window and get that sun on you?
I do. Trust me, I do. I sit right in the area where the sun hits me.
Okay. I love you,
Okay.
Christian.
Alright, I'll speak to you soon.
Bye, darling.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye, darling.
Bye-bye.
Good. Got Dave in my garden. But Jimbo, he's tidying my garden up. Well, he's going to do quite a few things to my garden. He's got a big fire. I know the dog's barking, but it's quite quiet here, isn't it, Jimbo? There's Dave. Yeah, he's popped in.
I've just popped in.
At least it's good to see the sun today.
Wow, it's been a lovely...
Yeah, it's been quite a nice spring day,
It was
Jimbo.
spraying this morning, I'm sure you noticed.
Yeah, I've got to come out and look at the grub looks around and goes, nice day or not?
No.
Yeah.
Yes, Dave. I'm always doing. I don't. Nobody films me, but I film everybody else. Jimbo's like, yeah. That's what it. Yes, and I've got Dave in my garden.
Dave in the garden.
Yeah, Dave in the garden. He likes gardening.
I love gardening.
Yeah.
It's nice to be working with nature and adding things out and making things productive. We should have a little cannabis grow here.
Dave.
Can't say that.
Good. Got Dave. Is it worth it? Like.
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay then. All right. Let's. Yes, we've had to go over to this one because my recorder didn't seem to like me and Dave on the camera, but you can see we were together. But Dave wanted to talk a little bit about Trump and Zelensky. Zelensky, sorry, him, yeah.
Well, no, it's really more general because I think that everybody will have seen, or a lot of people will have seen the White House Oval Office meeting with Zelensky, Trump, and Vance, the VP, and that is, certainly meant to be like a seismic moment in, global
History.
world politics.
Yes.
Yeah, world politics, global. I use the term very loosely.
And it should have all been peaceful, really.
Yeah, but what happens here is he gets put in his place by Trump, but he says a few things that are telling. Now, I have to preface all of this by saying I think overall that all of this is theatre. All three of these characters in this video are IMDb listed actors. Here comes Vance into the picture now, and he's now getting into a fairly heated exchange with Zelensky, and Trump is sitting there with his diamonds, diamond being 33 in numerology, so this is all scripted, staged event.
With a big head in there.
Oh yeah.
Big head.
But the Zelensky is, he's being told off basically by Vance, so they're using him to do the kind of talking, and he's taking none of it. He's not accepting it. America's fine because you've got the water, big water between you and us, but it'll come to you eventually, or it'll come to you. And basically, this is saying, war is coming to America, but Trump is like very quick to no, shut that down. And I think that's because, well, they're foreshadowing.
There's the little Roman eagle on the table that they're all sitting with.
Oh yeah, there is indeed.
Romans.
This is a pretty directed attack on Zelensky. One of the press people had asked him why he doesn't wear a suit. It was really like meant to be a dressing down. But it's all for theatre, but I'm so curious to know what people, and maybe you can comment on this, what people are to make of a Ukraine where a Ukraine where you know the president or whatever is considered to be a tyrant, and what are you looking at?
Well, just it
The
looked really
head.
weird, and his hand was through his hair a bit. Yeah, sorry, I just noticed those things. I
yeah.
like that bit there. I don't think Trump's sitting on that chair either.
Well,
but anyway,
yeah. Well, I mean, I think that this theatre occurred. Has it always been about putting Ukraine in a particular position for the army? Yeah. Is it, you know, to control the wealth there, to get us into you know, Russian sites so that there's a bigger conflict to come? Maybe all of those things.
it does seem that Trump's on Russia's side, doesn't it? Really.
Yeah, he's saying, you know, basically.
Here we go. He's don't talk to me.
Don't
like
tell us. Yeah, don't you tell us what. And you're not in a position to, you know, you got no cards in this. Don't tell us. And Zelensky's still going. No. Until Trump will actually push him, basically. Yeah, don't tell us what's going. They are. Yeah. So. This is him getting a telling off for suggesting that America would come under attack too.
How does that suit us when we've backed him? You know,
Well-
if Trump doesn't back him and we've backed that one, how's that going to work?
Well, it's interesting
We'd be
talking
giving all
about
that
the
aid to them and
well,
everything.
it's interesting when
Money.
you talk about the money. You know, people talk about 350 billion from. He says, Zelensky himself says it wasn't that much, and the truth is that when they say they're giving 5 billion to Ukraine, most of that money goes into the military department, who then siphon off old equipment from their storeroom to Ukraine. So it generally doesn't mean that 5 billion, maybe $1 billion of that gets to the country for certain things, but it's all with strings. It's going to be used in this way, and it'll come from our weapon store. This is what I experienced in the Angolan war as a youngster, is that Angola was being sold all of this equipment that eventually it would have to pay for. And that's how these things go. So now Zelensky is either playing the role of I don't want to let America in and take our minerals, our rare earth minerals, and that he's talking about. Maybe that's it.
He's getting quite a telling off there, isn't
He's
he?
getting,
Still
yeah,
pointing his finger.
yeah. Oh yeah. No, he was getting a right drubbing. And so what is that doing? Because they were holding this guy up, we're supporting him, we're spending all of this money.
all the aid you need.
But they're justifying, so he's the hero that was painting people's minds. So we must back him and Ukraine. So they were selling that, but now they've turned that, and the story has been completely turned on its head. Now he isn't the guy to be worked with. He has to give up the land that Russia has taken. Now it may always have been Russian land. I'm not really in that argument. It's.
Is that what Trump's there for? To get some of the land back for Russia?
No, he's like saying that Russia can keep the land, basically.
But that means that they're not there then.
No, because they've never taken much. I would say like maybe 100 kilometers in from Ukraine's a massive country, but maybe 100 kilometers in on some of the border, some areas, some regions. A few, tens of thousands of square kilometers, I'm sure, but not like if you look at the map of Ukraine, you're only taking off a tiny little bit at the top. It's not like all of Ukraine has been overrun. All of the war has been on a very small border area relative to Ukraine's whole size and its position in USSR and so on. But here he is. Look, Trump is this where he touches him? I'm not sure. But he gets to a point where he actually pushes him quite hard, relatively speaking, for what's meant to be a diplomatic encounter. This was the least diplomatic thing that I've ever seen. Has it all been even CGI'd in or whatever? I would consider that possibility.
He does look quite big. I mean, Trump doesn't look big in his chair, but he looks big in his chair. He looks like a little kid.
Well, he is a small guy, if you've seen him. As I said, I've got a friend who's met him. So he is physically small.
I don't know. I think they're all superimposed in. They never were there together.
Well,
who knows?
what is being created here is a storyline. Whether it's all CGI or aliens or it's real people who believe their story, their narrative. I mean, this guy's acting the part quite well, but we know that he acted the part as an actor, as a president in a Ukrainian TV series. You know, and so was he always like, look, eventually you're going to have to come in and be humble. And then with that, we're going, look, push. See that push? Whoa. Don't you tell us that we could be in trouble. America could be in trouble too. You're creating the conditions for World War III if you don't go ahead with this. Look at him looking like a child now, you know, being told off. But he still bites back at the president. He's not finished. You know, so he certainly gave his, you know, a pretty good performance in terms of defending the Ukrainian lot and the needing more continued support financially, militarily, and not critically, I think, not to give up these rare earth minerals. What do they need the rare earth minerals for? Car batteries, primarily. So this is the, you know,
and what else they haven't told you about?
This is one of the things they haven't told us about, is that Ukraine will have to give up, like Angola did, all its oil rights to the Russians and the Americans to pay off the war. And this is what we do with all our taxes, is we're paying off their wars. Because, you know, that once they've created the war, it's like, oh, I'm sorry, well, we've got to come and collect on that, you know, you don't get that for free. So this is part of that, and it's and maybe changing hearts and minds of people to harden them against Ukraine.
Is that his vice president?
Yeah, the guy on the right there. Yeah, he's a young guy.
Quite young, isn't he?
Also an actor.
Yeah.
Or a film director and stuff like that. And yeah, do I think that he's got an important role to play? You know, no doubt about that. But it's interesting, and the European politics as part of what is happening in Ukraine is also fascinating to see. And so I think the Europeans are going to continue supporting Ukraine, and it's going to create a situation between Europe and Russia.
What does that mean for England then?
Well,
I think they run everything myself. It's all part of their game. But
yeah.
We're showing that we support Ukraine. We've given. How does that work then? We're going against Trump.
No. Well, Trump has kind of said, look, it's up to the Europeans now to take more control over supporting you. You know, they've done like 100 billion, we've done 350 billion. Like I said, that's not real money, and it's not like that amount of money ever got to him. And, you know, even Zelensky was like, you know, Trump is overplaying what we've given to America. But then Trump goes on to say, oh, you know, Biden was a complete fool. He actually uses the word a fool, you know. So talk about diplomacy. To call the president that you were under in the last period to a fool is in itself to be completely undiplomatic, and that's Trump basically just completely harpooning, you know, the last guy.
That's what I was saying to you about how they'll want to get him out like they wanted him out before. If you just watch the news and he's going, I want to make America great again, but when you actually listen to what he says so many bizarre things.
Well, like I was saying, I think that he's playing a populist game in a way, because he is creating. People are going to go, yeah, why are we spending 300 billion on, you know, that's a lot of money. We're about saving money at the moment, Doge and all of that stuff. And these guys, Elon and him, they're cleaning house and they're getting rid of all the rot and what. So we need that to continue. We need to make a bigger wall, stop people getting in, shut ourselves down, maybe get much more AI to kind of monitor things and blah, blah, blah. And America is going to become cut off in a way. Through the next few years, it's going to isolate itself, and then again you're going to see a Pearl Harbor. You're going to see an event that forces America to join, and it'll be like, well, I didn't want to, but of course the American people want this now because we've been attacked in the way that we have by whomever the bad guy will be. So, and I won't make any predictions about that, but of course, you know, China is in the play, and the Middle East. You know, the stuff that's happening in the Middle East with America supporting Gaza or not supporting Gaza, but supporting, you know, Israel in sort of taking over Gaza and, just continuing this, what they would call a Zionist agenda. And along with and Trump, and this Trump supporters don't want to think about this, but there are so many agendas, from chemtrails to the needles that they put in the arm, and this 2019 CV business, all of these things that have been done in, to destroy humanity. He's not addressing any of those things. So yeah, I think the stage is being set. It's very interesting, very, dare I say,
What's that there,
exciting.
Lord? Look at that.
It looks like a wrestling belt or something.
What
Or was that a Ukrainian? It was a Ukraine flag. It was some sort of
right.
maybe a presentation for the president, a gift. I bet Zelensky's probably paid for that with American dollars, which is ironic. But anyway.
In the picture, he doesn't look very happy, does he?
No, well, he's just had a massive telling off here now. He has been humbled. He's in a den of thieves in a way, and he was sort of man on his own. And of course, Trump and what they're doing, by the way, is creating an enigma and a persona, because obviously Trump was placed in the TV show You're Fired. What was it called? The Apprentice. He was put in that to give him recognition in America, because it was a stepping stone towards putting him
WWF.
away from WWF, to putting him into office eventually. That was all part of the plan when he was doing that. And You're Fired, and I'm the hard-nosed businessman who will make quick, decisive, good decisions, and so on. He's been created as this person, and these things here, me telling them, me coming in, I've moved into a new neighborhood, and I've got all the bosses of all the local gangs, and they're in my place, and I'm telling them off, and I've got the muscle around me to go, listen, I'm holding, like Trump says, I'm holding all the cards here. Well, you've got no cards, he says to Zelensky. You've got very little cards in this game, blah, blah, blah. And Zelensky, I'm not playing cards. But
It is a bit strange. I mean, how would it feel if it was America and then people are telling you you've got no rights to your country, and they're telling Trump that?
Oh yeah.
But he wants to be the king, doesn't he?
Yeah, he wants to be king. But it's a thing is that when you're in trouble financially and you go down the road to a loan shark and you borrow more and more and more, eventually the loan shark's going to own you. And that's, Zelensky was put in by a CIA operation anyway, so they got rid of the last decent, apparently, guy who wasn't playing along with the WEF.
Do you think he'll be going?
Of course he'll be going. He will have served his term, just like Boris Johnson and all these other clowns. He would have served his term and done the job that he was intended to do. I would suggest that the majority, 95% of all of the top people are running to someone else's script. There's very, very few, if any.
Well, that's when it's done. There's 3,289,208 views.
That's just on the Tory graph, yeah. And that's, the other news agencies will all have, so this will have had
oh my God,
a billion
Dave,
views.
We're going to war.
Well, we've been at war, COVID-19, the lockdowns, that was part of war. That was a war on the people, and all of this is war on the people. We might not notice this in the way that we're not right on the front line, but the war is ongoing and it's happening in different parts and different.
Try to stop people getting together, communicating, and everything.
Well, that's part of the control, isn't it, to stop people communicating?
And now you can't remember. Was it 1 year or 3 years? You've got a memory loss now because it went on so long.
What?
Being locked up in your house.
Yeah, well, it depends on where you were.
Did I
Some
see
places
last year, or was that 3 years ago? Got that sort of...
Yeah.
Oh.
This whole thing is part of, it's setting the stage, and it's setting the stage particularly for Trump and Vance to be this powerhouse. They've just gone in and bullied one of the mob bosses here, and publicly, and that's,
he's got very quiet, hasn't he?
Yeah, and it's been done on purpose, and it is to create a particular
what do you think
feeling when people
Ukrainian
will go.
people will feel about watching him sitting in silence now, being told off? What do you think that'll make the Ukrainian people feel?
Yeah, maybe it undermines him. Maybe it reinforces him with people. They're he did try and stand his ground and stuff, and he's actually batting for the Ukrainian people by saying, we don't want to give up these mining rights, we've got concessions we want to be made in a ceasefire situation. It's hard for me to know what it's like on the ground, how many people have really been killed in these awful, attacks, because I know that there had been, I'm sure, through first of being near the front line and knowing people that are on the front line himself, that there is these battles have been fought. But those people are pawns, like I was in Angola. These people are pawns.
He doesn't like
being
it.
moved.
He shook his head. He shook his head then.
Yeah. These people are pawns being, moved around, and whether these guys are just pawns, they know a bit more, but they're also being shifted around. It's just like, imagine Zelensky was made certain promises, and then they've gone, we've changed our mind. The script has changed on you, and you have to roll with it. That's just the way it is, and it's going to be uncomfortable, but you're going to have to see your way through this, and you'll be fine at the end. You'll have a nice house.
He's not happy, is he?
He's not happy. His wife gets to go on expensive shopping trips to Paris and stuff like that, famously, but he won't be hard up.
They like, can't they?
He won't be hard up, but he will be,
So is this in Ukraine then?
This is in the White House, in the Oval Office. It started with a certain energy. You could see in Vance's face, he was super aggro, looking towards Zelensky at the beginning of the press conference. It was, I noticed that, but perhaps there'd been earlier conversations. There was an earlier sense of things, but was it all just an act to get us to see why the world is taking a step in a different direction? Creating, perhaps, as Trump said 3 times, World War III. He said that 3 times, I think, and so that's putting it out on the if this video would have been watched 500 million times by now, if it's been watched 300,000 times on the Tory graph, 3 million times on the Tory graph, then so, and
46,000 thumbs up,
right? So
those people are agreeing with it.
And not many people normally, on these Tory graph ones, do they bother with a thumbs up, thumbs down. It's the engagement isn't as high. So it shows you that the majority of people are buying this. This is the new story now. From going to, I remember I was in South Africa at the time when in the UK they were just reporting all the time on CV19 and all the numbers on that, and then 2 days later they, over the course of the weekend, they just went from that to Ukraine's in trouble, we have to go and help them, we have to do this, we have to do that, Zelensky's a good guy, even though people were laughing about his career as an actor, that he's a good guy, good president, he's the one we need to support, not Putin, who's, once upon a time being part of the
But don't forget, they've explained to everybody that Putin has invaded, but if you ever watch any of Putin's talks, he says, I never invaded. So what's going on? If he says he never invaded, and they're saying, oh, he invaded, and this is what caused it. But I did watch, I forget what he's called now, he went there on the line, there was no tanks there.
Right.
He went right on the borderline between Ukraine, and they said there was tanks there, and there was no tanks there.
Wow.
None, I'm sorry, none.
Wow.
So it's hard to...
Yeah, it's hard to know, but I mean, again, these things could be happening in places far-flung places. So I'm still, maybe, but I'm still of the mind, there is a politically it seems like there's a proportion of that part of eastern Ukraine that would prefer to be Russian, and their heritage goes back to being Russian, and it's the border has moved around a bit over the years, but I'm sure this has more to do with the NATO thing and the bigger story of creating conflict with which to control people.
And now they're creating it where, are you with Trump or some Biden was down with Russia? But I mean, look at that.
Trump wants to, the actor we call Trump is going to be the kind of savior, but then some other actor is going to come in and Pearl Harbor everything. And then we're going to have, that's my prediction. I mean, I can't say that's going to happen in the next 4 years, but I think so. I think that we're in 1933.
Is it to make them look like they're starting to take over Europe, not the Russians? They're trying to start, because Russia has another island which is set in Europe. It's down a bit. Like you've got Russia, you've got some countries, and then there's another country that's theirs, and their ships are there.
Right.
And the submarines are there.
Is that the Black Sea?
I can't know. Yeah, it's up on. I there's a few countries in between. Then comes Russia's country, and then that would put if they're going to have everything taken over, it would put American troops in there.
Yeah, and
it's probably how they're just taking over everything.
Always been.
Oh, that's what I was going to say to you. Remember years ago, I want to go and live in America. It's big, it's great, everything's wonderful, and now. If you look on the internet, the Russians are quite happy being in Russia.
Yeah.
They've lied about that and the totalitarianism, communism that they had. Now it looks like everything they said about them, they're doing it to the Americans.
Well, I travelled.
Do you know what I mean? They're going to, like you said, might be ostracised now a bit because of this and all that. Be marginalised. And so that's what they did in our world to Russia.
Yeah. But remember, more importantly, what this is giving people is a sense of there is world affairs that require, thankfully, people like Trump and Boris Johnson to, Tony B. Liar, to kind of mediate and to run the show for us. Well, they're creating the problem so that they can run the show, and what they're doing is giving us reasons to eventually come under like a regional European, more of this regional European
one world order.
One world order, Agenda 2030, and all of these. 2030 has got some pretty draconian ideas in it that will really be unpleasant. It's already pretty tight, but it's going to be really unpleasant in the next 10 years. Do you remember the 80s, the plastic 80s? Everything was wonderful and up here, and now everything, it's all horrible wars and control. Is that because we've woken up and this is the games they have to play? No, I think it's just like a natural progression of the storyline that they've taken us to from natural beings who lived much more with the land to transhuman, basically, all implanted and with chips and body parts.
Because we need them.
And what have you,
but we don't.
In order to operate, just think about a checkbook, for example. You could have written a check, no problem 20 years ago, 30 years ago. Nowadays,
my mum has problems.
There's very few places. Same with cash, for what it's worth.
Yeah. Let's go back to a picture of where he's pointing at
Zelensky.
Where is he? He's telling him off there.
Yeah, you need to. Yeah. Well, anyway, so that's. Yeah, I think there is big stuff going on here.
But can I say something to you? When I went to the Isle of Wight last weekend.
How nice.
It's not that far from England, 10 miles, but on a boat. But England's just there because there's a fort.
It's not even 10 miles.
Hurst Fort is right there.
Yeah.
But what it was is, no matter who I asked, whether they lived there, worked there. So some people had come for a season and stayed. They loved it there. They all said it's a different way of life because obviously it's not London-y or anything like that. They explained to us the Isle of Wight is quite poor, but when you go there, okay, there's some derelict places, but we've got millions of them here. But it's quite quaint and sweet. There's no rubbish anywhere. It's all nice. We've got the sea or mountains. There's 36 mountains on the Isle of Wight. I didn't know that. Oh, really? So I thought it was lovely there. They don't feel they're in the rat race. They said they loved it there. We're on a little island.
Yeah.
So I suppose if just don't turn that television on too much because the story and the Dallas dynasty things on that is it.
Yeah, but I think though that for me, I am fascinated by these things because they are to shape our world. We create our world, but they create our perception of our world. So we go out and become the soldier and all the other sorts of things that we become, and politician. And we could get into the esoteric as to why they're doing it, but really it is about controlling people's perception. And with the majority believing a certain narrative, then they will be able to. Whoever will be able to control mankind in ways that do not serve our best interests and
No,
may well
because you know
serve
what?
something dark.
I thought YouTube wouldn't really particularly like the AI stuff because in that you can't prove whether it's real or not, but YouTube promote AI. If YouTube are doing it, the news are doing it, and everything is being shown through this AI stuff, and you can't work out whether it's real or not. And I think that's disgusting because 99% of it is fake. And so what do you do to the people when all you're doing is showing them, well, I think they're cartoons, you think they might be masks, but they're doing all that. What is, it's all a game, it's all a show, it's all...
I think they want eventually our soul energy. Maybe they're getting it already. And what do we want? We want to maybe be able to return to something much more natural, where we've done, this is an important message really, is to say that we need to see all of this deception that's happening, realize that it's being done to us, done on purpose to control us, and therefore how do we stay enthralled by that oh my gosh, you know, this person is doing this thing, you know, like all the time to try and get my attention. You're going to keep giving them your attention, or are you going to build on something in you, like, you know, because it comes back to you being the center of all of this, that you are the center of your universe. You have your own sun, your own moon, your own projection of the stars, and it's all centered on you.
And if you believe in this, the one frequency they can't break is love. And so that's the frequency hopefully everybody learns to live more on, whether it's loving your neighbour, your friend or your partner, and hopefully that will do it, because they are harvesting us. They don't want the loved one, they want us in agony and misery and
War
fear.
creates fear and control from that.
It unsettles you, doesn't it? Even though you know it's not real, it still unsettles you a bit. You think, oh my God, that's what they're going to do.
If we're in an Islamic war, then you fear your neighbour who's Islamic, or you fear the Russians.
None of us like each other, do we?
What
For that reason.
Nukes. If nukes were real, people have got a real fear of that. And so that is the opposite vibration, isn't it? And they can control that. As you say,
and
they
keep
can't
your
break.
mind busy on history that doesn't even exist.
Yeah, they can't
know,
break
like,
the love.
You've got memories. Diana, Elvis, were they real? You've got memories. I cried. And that's what they're able to do to you. They're able to make you cry.
Yeah, well, well, I mean, you're feeling something, but they want to.
What I mean is, it's not real. It's being done to you for an effect.
Yeah. But what if we try and flip the script a bit and say, what if it's being done for us to up level? We're actually being shown.
You mean to the wake up?
Yeah,
wake
it's
up.
like, okay, you've been shown that your vicar is doing dastardly deeds. So what are you going to do? Keep going to the same place every Sunday? Or are you going to do something about it and do something different?
I
Not
do
that I'm
understand
recommending
that, but if you vote for any of... Trump has the same boss as Biden.
Yeah, no, well...
Trump has the same boss as Biden, so it doesn't matter which one you vote for, you're still going to get the same thing running you.
Oh yeah. Yeah. No, I think that, you know, the term Zionist and controlled by another agenda and being placed here, you know, as I said earlier about him being on that TV show, that's other people controlling that. You know, this is our guy. They're planning 20, 30 years ahead when it comes to, maybe longer, when it comes to who they're going to put in charge. Because, it's the same people controlling the game, and whether it be from Britain or some other, you know, place, debatable.
You think they're just going to run on this for rather a long time then, just to keep everybody unsettled?
No, well, I think that has to be like like they said in that writing in 1893, I think I might be off a little bit on the year. But Albert Pike wrote to the president, I think, of Italy and said, we're going to create 3 world wars. And he names them. And so he's the guy who writes Morals and Dogma, by the way, which is like the Freemasons' big Bible. And so if you've got that guy, you know, and some people say, nah, that's fake and so on, but the writing's on the wall, and I've been saying this for 5 years now, that we have been in the run into, you know, World War III, and that's, you know, all by design. And the thing is that once you know that, are you going to continue to be enthralled by the Punch and Judy show? or you're going to go, whoa, this is all about me. They're trying to control what I, collectively all of us, but what I perceive about myself and the world. And how am I going to address that? Because at the end of the day, once you realize that you've been whacked, then you've got to address the whacking. And the whacking started before you were born. You were being, affected by these centuries eventually to control the masses. And in some kind of zeitgeisty, kind of futuristic bubble where, some people are living these perfectly like sterile lives, and maybe even not, maybe they're sterile and have to have children by kind of, they have to buy them somehow or whatever. Anyway, so there is all of that coming down the line. Or do we want to find ourselves, being the antithesis of that? I am not saying we shouldn't do anything to counter what the system is doing or this game is doing. However, I do have this overriding sense that it's like you're meant to, in order to transcend it, you're meant to find love, and you're meant to be in love. And if you're in war, and if I have got such a beef with my neighbor, it's going to make me sick, actually. If we're arguing with each other every day and we're hating on each other every day, then that's going to make us sick, and it's going to harm me and my perhaps soul journey. That we have a spiritual element to this, that we're meant to be raising our vibration towards the love that you spoke of, and that is the quest that we're meant to be on, where the question, what's the meaning of life? To find love.
Because that isn't it, is it? That's just created to make you stay in fear.
Mm-hmm. To give you leaders, because they want you not to be your own leader. So to take power away from you, and then to instill fear such that you will continue to pay for me to rule over you. That's what's going on.
Rather than you can be your own master.
You can be your own master, and
I didn't follow them last time. I know you probably didn't either in lockup. I went on the trains. I was the only person on this train. Yeah. I was like, oh my God, there's no one else here.
Yeah.
Everything was still going, everything was still running, all the gates were open.
Yeah.
No police there, no nothing. And everybody stayed at home, but I was a little rebel.
Yeah.
I'd do that again. I'm sorry, I don't trust
we
these
went
people.
to Terminal 5 in Heathrow on the, I think, April of 2021, and we were almost the only people in the entire building. It was unbelievable. There were maybe 2 or 5, maybe people,
That must be weird.
That was so weird to be there. There was grounds crew staff and whatnot, but there were no people at all.
And I think people are only just starting to really start going out again.
Definitely, people have really picked up since that time, and they actually don't really want to look back at that time. They just want to dust themselves off and go, okay, I just got rammed up the back end in the dark alley for 6 hours. Now, I've recovered from that. I'm just going to walk away and pretend like it never happened. Well, it happened, and it's going to happen again. It was like a practice run to get people ready for what I believe in the next 5 years, far more. It put into the minds of this generation and these people that lockdown was an actual thing. That pandemic was such a thing that people had to hide indoors and hug their loved ones through plastic bags.
Not allowed to.
It was insane, and it continues to be insane.
I feel very sorry for people who were in hospital and died on their own.
They're dreadful. There are many, many dreadful stories of people.
So when you think of Auschwitz and all that, sort of is the same sort of thing, really, when you look at it. What was done to humanity across the board, it seems, was one of the worst crimes against humanity. And that's before we even get to the needlecraft. To the people.
Yeah. No, it's and the weird thing is that children being taught in history class, oh, look at this bad dictator over there, what he did. In the meantime, we just shortened your grandmother's life by 10 years, or
work out we're the baddies.
Yeah.
We're not the goodies, the Russia's supposed to be the baddies, but they're not. We're the baddies.
Yeah, well, it's a clever game that's being played, and if you lived in Russia,
Who the
you
hell
would feel
thought
like
this
we
up?
were probably doing the right thing by whatever has been
All
done.
we've got to do is mind control the people and we've won.
Yes, yes.
We forget we've told them we're the Romans.
No, Rome never died.
Romans
All
went
roads,
into the English Empire and they come from the English Empire.
No.
Romans.
all roads lead to Rome. But you know, I do think that this place gets whitewashed every 500 years, 400 years, something like that. You know, there is a changeover event that occurs that means that this civilization kind of gets washed away, maybe. You know, so but in terms of the Sodom and Gomorrah kind of capitalism and control over the minutiae of the individual living soul, that has to run its course. There is going to come a point where it's like a Judge Dredd type.
Same thing, but look what they've done to P. Diddy.
Yeah, I haven't followed that too closely, but you know.
One minute he's a hero, and the next
Yeah.
thing is he's a dirty dog, and the whole. You can
Yeah.
watch it on Discovery or something. And
Yeah.
watch the whole P. Diddy.
Really? Well, I mean, it's one of
How
those
did he
things
go
that,
from that to
yeah,
that?
yeah, and they know about, you know, like what's his name, Epstein, or the General Fix-It guy. You know, they know about these people all along, so it's not like
Yeah,
it's a
like
surprise.
Trump knew about
You know.
the Social Security that, you know, like
Yeah.
Elon said they were, what is it, 7 or 107, but he was in charge of that for a while, so why doesn't he take responsibility?
Yeah. All of these things that the Doge is kind of,
Yes,
you know,
forget about all that.
it was all known, it's all out there for these politicians to have read, either in opposition of government or in government themselves.
Did
It's
try and
been
save
going
the
on.
Americans when Biden was in, was he?
No.
No.
Oh, and all of the US aid stuff and the buying off of governments, I saw it in Angola, and the supporting of rebels or terrorists or whatever in one place or another. It's all been happening all along under all the presidents. So they like to kind of use each other as the, oh, well, we blame it on you. You know, you, like Boris Johnson, you know, he does all the stupid stuff, and then they get, you know, they drop him out so that they can kind of move on. Like, we've moved on from the Boris thing. We don't have to, you know, go back on that. But they are doing horrible things to humanity. You know.
Me though, I know how I feel. I feel this is all crap. Not worried about my own thoughts. But when all this stuff comes out, I think, oh my God, imagine what they're going to think now. I always worry about what the people think, because obviously, if everybody woke up, we wouldn't have to worry. But they're not. They're asleep and they believe it, and you think, oh no, they're going to believe
exactly.
all.
And just like in the months of the end of 2019, they started seeding stories to do with this thing in Wuhan. And so with all of this, they were seeding storylines for people that when a certain thing happens in the future, it'd be like, yeah, well, we just like with Ferdinand in World War One, you know, the killing of Ferdinand sets off World War One. That's never the story, you know. Same with the Vietnam War, you know, what causes the Vietnam War is, you know, Gulf of Tonkin affair, not what they tell us.
What, downstairs? Oh, Jimbo's knocked the fuse out.
Ah.
Well, at least it didn't turn off. You've got to pull the sofa out and put them back up. We'll do that in a bit.
Why don't we use that as an opportunity to wrap up this conversation?
Yeah, you've probably been a while. Well, it's been really nice that Dave's been in my house and in my garden.
Yeah. Well, I got to get it going as well. So it's been lovely. spending
Yeah,
time
well,
with
we
you.
can say goodbye off air, but
Yeah.
for this
Yeah.
hangout, thank you so much anyway for your thoughts.
Yeah, you're welcome. And
I
you can
didn't
find me on
actually
Trinity,
watch that one myself.
You can find me on Trinity4 on YouTube.
I put your channel.
Oh, you did?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
But for me, it's great because I have talked to Dave for years now, and then I met him twice in a month.
Awesome.
Yeah, it is.
Well,
Yeah,
over to you, and I'm so glad we've done it.
yeah, yeah. Anyway, thank you so much for the time talking about this.
You're welcome.
Crazy that it is.
Yeah, I do try and do a Friday night thing where I'm looking at what's going on in the world a bit, but also the level up stuff. Don't forget that. We are here to level up.
Oh yes, what are you doing with Andrea very quickly?
We
Your-
just
your
do
courses.
we just do. Well, we do. You know, we do. She does body mind maturation coaching, and I offer some, shall we say, guidance to people if they need it. So we're both trained coaches, and we would welcome you know, anyone who wants to contact us for a discovery call, which is free. can email me on Trinity4man@gmail.com.
Oh, is that what you are?
Yeah, Trinity4man, the number 4. Trinity4man@gmail.com.
Yeah.
Cool.
Excellent.
Yeah, thanks, Tom.
That's all right, and thank you, Dave. And thank you for everybody who's listened in on the video.
Be well.
Thank you.
He broken this ceasefire. He killed our people and he didn't exchange prisoners. We signed the exchange of prisoners, but he didn't do it. What kind of diplomacy, JD, you are speaking about? What do you mean?
I'm talking about the kind of diplomacy that's going to end the destruction of your country.
Yeah, but if you
Mr. President, with respect, I think it's disrespectful for you to come into the Oval Office and try to litigate this in front of the American media. Right now, you guys are going around and forcing conscripts to the front lines because you have manpower problems. You should be thanking the president for trying to bring an end to this conflict.
Have you ever been to Ukraine that you say what problems we have?
I have been to.
Come once.
I've actually watched and seen the stories, and I know what happens is you bring people, you bring them on a propaganda tour, Mr. President. Do you disagree that you've had problems bringing people into your military? And do you think that it's respectful to come to the Oval Office of the United States of America and attack the administration that is trying to prevent the destruction of your country?
A lot of questions. Let's start from the beginning. Sure. First of all, during the war, everybody has problems. Even you, but you have nice ocean and don't feel now, but you will feel it in the future. God bless.
You don't know that.
God bless. God bless. You will not have war.
Don't tell us what we're going to feel. We're trying to solve a problem. Don't tell us what we're going to feel.
I'm not telling you.
Because you're in no position to dictate that.
That's
Remember
exactly what
this. You're in no position to dictate what we're going to feel. We're going to feel very good.
You will feel influence.
We're going to feel very good and very strong.
You will feel influence.
You're right now not in a very good position. You've allowed yourself to be in a very bad position, and he happens to be right about it.
From the very beginning of the war.
You're not in a good position. You don't have the cards right now. With us, you start having
not
cards.
Playing cards.
Right now, you don't.
You're
playing cards. You're playing cards.
Serious.
You're gambling with the lives of millions of people. You're gambling with World War III. You're gambling with World War III. And what you're doing is very disrespectful to the country, this country. That's back to you. Far more than a lot of people said they should have.
Have you said thank you once this entire meeting? No, in this entire meeting, have you said thank you? You went to Pennsylvania and campaigned for the opposition in October. Offer some words of appreciation for the United States of America and the president who's trying to save your country.
Please, you think that if you will speak very loudly about the war, you can...
He's not speaking loudly. He's not speaking loudly. Your country is in big trouble.
Can I
Wait a minute. No. You've done a lot of talking. Your country is in big trouble.
I know.
You're not winning. You're not winning this. You have a damn good chance of coming out okay because of us.
Mr. President, we are staying in our country, staying strong from the very beginning of the war. We've been alone, and we are thankful. I said thanks
you haven't
in
been
this
alone.
cabinet.
You haven't been alone.
In this cabinet.
We gave you, through this stupid president, $350 billion.
You voted
we gave
for
you
your
military equipment, and you men are brave, but they had to use our military.
What about
if you didn't have our military equipment,
if you
didn't have our military equipment, this war would have been over in 2 weeks.
In 3 days, I heard it from Putin. In 3 days. This is something
maybe
new.
Less.
In 2 weeks, of course, yes.
It's going to be a very hard thing to do business like this. I tell you.
You say thank you.
I said a lot of
except that there are disagreements, and let's go litigate those disagreements rather than trying to fight it out in the American media when you're wrong. We know that you're wrong.
But you see, I think it's good for the American people to see what's going on. I think it's very important. That's why I kept this going so long. You have to be thankful. You don't have the cards. You're buried there. Your people are dying. You're running low on soldiers. Listen, you're running low on soldiers. It would be a damn good thing. And then you tell us, I don't want a ceasefire. I don't want a ceasefire. I want to go and I want this. Look. If you could get a ceasefire right now, I tell you, you take it so the bullets stop flying and your men stop getting killed.
Of course, we want to stop the war.
But you're saying you don't want a ceasefire.
But I said to you,
I want a ceasefire.
With guarantees.
Because you'll get a ceasefire faster than an agreement.
Ask our people about ceasefire, what they think.
That wasn't with me.
For you what
that wasn't with me. That was with
wasn't
a
you.
guy named Biden, who was not a smart person.
This
That
is
was
your,
with,
this
that was
is
with
your
Obama.
president. It was your president.
Excuse me. That was with Obama, who gave you sheets, and I gave you javelins.
Yes.
I gave you the javelins to take out all those tanks. Obama gave you sheets. In fact, the statement is Obama gave sheets and Trump gave javelins. You got to be more thankful, because let me tell you, you don't have the cards. With us, you have the cards, but without us, you don't have any cards. It'll be a tough deal to make, because the attitudes have to change. What are you saying?
She's asking, what if Russia breaks the ceasefire?
What if anything? What if a bomb drops on your head right now? Okay? What if they broke it? I don't know. They broke it with Biden because Biden, they didn't respect him. They didn't respect Obama. They respect me. Let me tell you, Putin went through a hell of a lot with me. He went through a phony witch hunt where they used him and Russia. Russia. You ever hear of that deal? That was a phony Hunter Biden, Joe Biden scam. Hillary Clinton, Shifty Adam Schiff. It was a Democrat scam. And he had to go through that. And he did go through it. We didn't end up in a war. And he went through it. He was accused of all that stuff. He had nothing to do with it. It came out of Hunter Biden's bathroom. It came out of Hunter Biden's bedroom. It was disgusting. And then they said, oh, the laptop from hell was made by Russia. The 51 agents. The whole thing was a scam. And he had to put up with that. He was being accused of all that stuff. All I can say is this. He might have broken deals with Obama and Bush, and he might have broken them with Biden. He did, maybe. Maybe he didn't. I don't know what happened. But he didn't break them with me. He wants to make a deal. I don't know if you can make a deal. The problem is, I've empowered you to be a tough guy. And I don't think you'd be a tough guy without the United States. And your people are very brave. But you're either going to make a deal or we're out. And if we're out, you'll fight it out. I don't think it's going to be pretty, but you'll fight it out. But you don't have the cards. But once we sign that deal, you're in a much better position. But you're not acting at all thankful. And that's not a nice thing. I'll be honest, that's not a nice thing. All right, I think we've seen enough. What do you think? Huh? This is going to be great television, I will say that. All right, we'll see what we can do about putting it together. Thank you.
Guys, come on, let's go.
We'll see, I don't know.
All right, guys, come on.